Hey guys, welcome back to the Cool Classic Kids Show, and today we're talking about Palworld because it is the most insane overnight sensation I think I've seen in a while, really. And, well, really, I've been enjoying the game a lot, and mind you, I grew up loving Pokemon. I was at the perfect age demographic to really get into Pokemon when it first came to America, and I have been obsessed with it in my childhood. Um, from watching the TV show to playing the games to collecting the cards, even though I didn't know how to play the actual trading card game. But guys, I mean, I have my little stack of Pokemon here. I mean, right here I got a Pokemon Sapphire, and mind you, I'm on my 5th playthrough of this cartridge specifically. Yes, I actually delete my save and run through this game over and over and over again because, well, it's one of my all-time favorite games. And also got Pokemon White here, little cartridge on the DS. Really enjoyed this, and honestly, I used to have way more Pokemon games, but then I went to college and realized, damn, being broke sucks. But hey, Pokemon Y, enjoyed that one on the DS, and for a long time, Pokemon was really like a handheld, gamer's game, and got Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. I didn't like how much easier this game was in comparison to the original Sapphire, but then we get to, well, Switch games, man, and in my opinion, the Switch Pokemon has been disappointing even from the jump. This is Let's Go Pikachu, and while this isn't a bad game at all by any means, it actually plays really nice. It looks really good. The thing is, well, before the Switch was even, had even come out, when they showed off the Switch and introduced it, and we were excited for Nintendo's next, well, handheld or, well, hybrid, really, the dude that runs Game Freak, the Pokemon company, discussed how they were developing Pokemon and how it was going to be way better because, well, it's not restricted to a handheld necessarily. And yes, the Switch is a handheld, but it is a huge step up from the 3DS. And when they had promised that, and then it gave us this, a game in which, remake of Yellow and the traditional way of playing Pokemon kind of being changed up with, the whole throwing the ball mechanic, it was kind of disappointing. I gave it a try, and then I actually liked it. So it was disappointing at first to see that they weren't doing traditional Pokemon gameplay, but when I played it, it was actually not bad. And then we get Sword and Shield, and they were like, yeah, we don't have the time to do all, the 3D animations for all the Pokemon, so you're not going to get all the Pokemon in the new, not retro, well, not remake of Pokemon, and that was super disappointing. So I didn't even buy Sword, and then ended up buying Brilliant Diamond, and I had Diamond. Shout out to my brother who decided to give my Pokemon Diamond away without even asking me when I was a kid, so I no longer have Diamond because of that, and I ended up buying Brilliant Diamond, which I really enjoyed this one. I believe it was developed by Game Freak, if I'm not mistaken, yes. And this one is good. You know why? Because, well, Game Freak designed this game in a very simplistic looking manner and art style, I guess you could say. So it didn't feel like, well, it didn't feel super unpolished, and unlike, well, this game right here. This is the last Pokemon game I purchased, Legends Arceus, and I really like the general art style of the game, but the game runs like dog piss, and quite frankly, looks like dog piss, even though I really like the art style they were going for. And with this being the last Pokemon game I bought, I've avoided Pokemon, and I really at this point protest Pokemon because, well, the games are horrific on the Switch. We were expecting their games to really have a huge step up, being able to work on way more powerful hardware than the 3DS, and really overall, to me personally, it's been disappointing. I do not accept mediocrity, especially from Game Freak, a company that's been around for forever, it feels like at this point, and that should be able to do way better than what they are doing, especially with the amount of money Nintendo makes on Pokemon itself. Pokemon is one of the highest sold games like every year it comes out. It is astonishing how much money the franchise makes, despite being absolutely mediocre, disgusting piles of crap that get put on a cartridge and people just continue to buy and really have zero standards. And that's why I just stopped buying them. I hope that Pokemon can make a comeback and will get better, but in the meantime, I just kind of skip out on it, even though I enjoy running through the same sort of game every time. But when performance is trash, when game feels uninspired, when the new Pokemon designs themselves feel super uninspired, how am I supposed to be excited to get immersed and play Pokemon and go on that adventure again? Even though I like that adventure again, I just wish that it was of higher quality. And here we have a creature catching game in Palworlds. And guys, just to show you, thus far I have a decent amount of time in Palworlds. I put 15 hours in, and I really, really enjoy it. It's very addictive. It's very relaxing. It combines the gameplay style of Pokemon as well as hell, like Zelda Breath of the Wild. What else can I say that it's kind of like? It's a lot of different things. And I really enjoy living in that world and sort of just, being on my own little adventure and collecting new pals and just really experiencing the game for what it is. This is the kind of gameplay I want from a Pokemon game. I think back to, GameCube Pokemon games when, well, hell, Pokemon Coliseum was insane for its time. And the fact that we can't get a game like that in modern days is disappointing. But here we have a really small developer who really hasn't made anything noteworthy until Palworlds, giving Pokemon fans what they want. And with that, an immense amount of success has quickly come their way. And right now, this tweet came out at 8:30 a.m. today, Eastern Time. And this is from the Palworld Twitter account itself. Third highest all-time peak in Steam history, guys. Steam users currently playing Palworld has exceeded 1.5 million concurrent. Jeez, that is insane. The only thing ahead of it, Counter-Strike 2 and PUBG. It is insane how PUBG is like top concurrent all time. Ugh, what a disgusting game. But then we have Palworld right here. I am astonished, man. Absolutely astonished. These guys are an overnight sensation. And it's not like they reinvented the wheel by any means. And right now, Palworld has sold over 5 million copies in 3 days. Crazy, man. Hey, good for them. And this is not even a full release. This is an early access game. I can only hope that the developers of Palworld will continue to improve the game and make it better, because while it is a good launch, overall performance has been really good for me. Visuals, I mean, not the best looking game by any means, but overall I enjoy it. Enjoy the look of the game. It's bright, vibrant. Has ultra wide support, which is really nice for me personally, so I can have that immersive view. And my only big complaints really from this game thus far is people and Pokemon clipping through like walls or rocks and stuff, and the pop in. That's really been kind of crap. And my biggest disappointment with the game thus far, sadly, is just the reality that there's no crossplay between Xbox and PC. If you bought it on Steam, you can't even crossplay with individuals on Game Pass. Apparently, the Xbox version of the game is an old build, which is really disappointing. I don't know why they would do that, but I hope that they can fix that. I mean, it is early access, so you're gonna have to, in choosing to purchase or engage, if you decided to download it on Game Pass, you already know ahead of time that, well, there's going to likely be some things that are held back because it is an early access game. But so far, for an early access game, these developers have seen an insane amount of success, and, well, a lot of gamers have been having a lot of fun. This game is like crack. It's an easy game to just jump into. and have fun on your own, or jump into a world with a bunch of buddies. Apparently on Xbox you can only play with up to 4 people, and then on PC you could play up to 32, which is uh, I have yet to actually play with anyone because I was gonna try to play with Sly Crow, but he had it on Game Pass, so unfortunately we couldn't really cross over. But with all this insane success, guys, there is a lot of controversy and there is a lot of butthurt fanboys out here, and we're gonna get into all of it. But to just kind of get into the basics here, Pokemon fans hit back at Palworld's quote unquote lazy PAL designs. None PAL pass. None PAL pass. So they say, as the multiplayer monster collecting game, Palworld continues to clock up staggering sales numbers and break its own concurrent player record, some less enthused Pokemon fans have taken to social media to share just how similar they think Palworld is to Pokemon. And guys, man, after just expressing my disdain, my unfortunate disdain with Pokemon, it's kind of wild that Pokemon fans, despite being they're essentially the battered and bruised housewife. You've been railed by Nintendo and have chose to purchase every Pokemon release, likely not just one but 2 copies, since you'll buy the both versions of the game release just for a couple of extra Pokemon or whatever the heck have you. You guys go to defend Pokemon even despite its own lazy shortcomings. Amazing, but let's continue. Pokemon with Guns survival game Palworld, which released as an early access title yesterday. It released on January 19th and has already sold over 2 million copies, but it's facing claims that the similarities between it and Pokemon are too great to be coincidental. They said, reminder not to support Palworld, wrote one unhappy user on X/Twitter. It's not even subtle about its ripoffs. How much else has it stolen? And I'm not gonna lie, there's definitely some sus things about the game in terms of, well, inspirations. I feel as though some of the sound effects in the game sound exactly like Zelda Breath of the Wild. If you look at the start screen of the game, there's a character on it that looks exactly like Aloy almost, besides having a slightly different hair color. Same sort of outfit, all that. There's definitely pals in the game that certainly have taken some inspiration from Pokemon. I'm not here to act like, yeah, I'm not going to pretend that there's no similarities. There's definitely similarities. To quite a few things, no doubt. Playstyle of Breath of the Wild / Tears of the Kingdom. A lot of interesting influences here, to be completely honest with you. And they go on to say, I'm going to be making a thread of Palworld Designs analysis trying to spot every Pokemon they jumbled together, added another, before sharing a bevy of startling images and that show just how similar some of the Palworld characters are to those found in Pokemon. They said the argument that there's so many Pokemon you can't design monsters without accidentally copying at least one could be a valid point, but in this case, it's incredibly blatant that what they're doing. I haven't seen a single PAL. I can't tell exactly what Pokemon they took from. He said, I don't think they're trying to trick anyone into thinking PALs are Pokemon. I think it's mostly to get attention from outrage. It's also lazy. Why come up with the original designs for your game when you can steal from a successful IP? And this person, I guess, admits to giving them exactly what they think that the developers for Palworld want. Interesting. And they said, here's the CEO of Pocket Pair, and Pocket Pair is the company behind Palworld. And here's the CEO of Palpair talking about using AI to bypass copyright, generating fake mons without it, calling AI Art Imposter a real-time image generation game, and being excited for games powered by GPT-4. And they said fans have even located a tweet from Pocket Pair CEO Takuro Mizobi detailing how copyright images can be passed through AI to alter them and resolve copyright disputes. Another show Mizobi actually using images of original Pokemon to show how AI can generate equivalent characters. Neither developer, Pocket Pair, nor the Pokemon Company have commented publicly on alleged similarities. Palworld takes 10th place. Oh, yeah. Well, way more than that now. But, guys, look, do I think that they used AI here? Well, technically, they would have to disclose to Steam, if I'm not mistaken now. That's apparently a new policy if AI is used in developing a game. I don't necessarily think that they used AI. I think more so they definitely took some inspirations. Let's just say that. I'm not gonna freaking sit here and act like there ain't been some copying going on. But honestly, if I'm completely honest with you guys, I really don't care. I don't care if they copied Pokemon. Honestly, I think Pokemon deserves a good slap to the face. If I'm being completely honest with you guys. But we have a tweet from Switch Up here who says, so Pokemon fans are upset that Palworld has copied the monster designs, and so you shouldn't support it. It sold 2 million in a day. How about the opposite? It's fantastic news for Pokemon fans. Game Freak released Scarlet and Violet in an abysmal state, didn't fix it, and then mugged you off with glitchy DLC. They are laughing at the fan base who are now defending them. How about let them panic and work harder on the next release? Keep those Palworld sales rolling in, if you ask me. What do you think? And, you know, that's why I just don't care if they ripped off Pokemon or not. I really just don't care. I have a hard time really showing any emotion towards this. I guess I'm a bit bitter by the state of Pokemon, and it really can't be ignored. And this is a big reason why I will not buy Scarlet and Violet, why I don't care to buy Scarlet and Violet. But it is interesting how Pokemon fans are quick to discuss other creature catching games, but they won't discuss their own game of choice, which is extremely flawed. And I think Switch Up actually threw in some extra information. He kind of, I don't want to say they they fell back a little bit, but they said a wise man once said to me, guess what happens when you're offended? You're offended. My personal Pokemon fix comes from great indies like Monster Sanctuary and Cassette Beast. Support those guys. And many, many more. First and foremost, the point I'm making is Game Freak really need to respect the fans. Copying is obviously not okay. Don't do that. And I agree with that statement. And I'm glad that they actually voiced some other creature catching games like a Pokemon, because there are so many creature catching games that are amazing. I enjoyed Temtem for quite a while. There's definitely a lot more out there. There's a few that I've played. Coromon, if I'm not mistaken. Dang. And they have some really cool creature designs, some of these games. And they don't really get their just due because of the amount of headspace Pokemon owns when it comes to creature catching games. So I'm glad that they actually did voice a couple that they enjoy, but Palworld is really the first one that seems to just gotten past the headspace that Pokemon owns amongst gamers. And that's really cool to see. And I think that's really, really important because this is a big change. This is something that is insane. People are waking up to different creature catching games and in a big, big way. And I'm really glad to see that. And we have a PlayStation fanboy here who, you know, basically is very anti-Palworld because simply it's on Xbox and PC. I'm sure that, well, if it was available on the PlayStation, they'd probably be playing it right now. And they said, nah, fuck Palworld. This is exactly like stealing someone's artwork. And, you know, there's definitely a lot of similarities here. I can't sit here and pretend that there isn't. But like I said, I just don't give a fuck. Sorry, not sorry. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that I do. And normally people like this don't really care about developers anyway. Let's be real now, work being stolen. It's so rare to see this. And to sit here and defend a game like Pokemon, something that honestly Nintendo and developers over at Game Freak, everybody involved in the creation and of Pokemon, they should all be ashamed of themselves. The Pokemon company should genuinely be ashamed of itself. To sit here and defend them, making an insane amount of money off these broken ass, terrible running and playing games, is kind of gross. But while they continue to, express that there's a lot of similarities between Palworld pals and Pokemon, they ignore the reality that, well, and shout out to Kelsky over here who says, Palworld plagiarized Pokemon, but Pokemon took inspiration from Dragon Quest. Double standards go brr. And yeah, there's definitely quite a few similarities between Dragon Quest, shout out to Akira Toriyama for the amazing art, and Pokemon. I'm seeing some things here, guys. I'm definitely seeing some things. I mean, hey, I mean, shit. Yeah, that's a thing. And, interesting. Inspiration versus plagiarism. I mean, hey, I think we should maybe use a similar word if we're going to use a word, right? That's all I'm saying. Take your pick, just maybe across the board. But who need the developers of Palworld don't need to plagiarize, because guess what? They've already turned Palworld into Pokemon with mods. It is insane, man. Modders are astounding, truly. It is. We got Ash over here, bro. Yo. This is why PC gaming is amazing. If Nintendo won't give you good Pokemon, well, PC gaming will give you good Pokemon. That's what it is, dog. Look at that. That is insane. Love to see it, man. Love to see it. And man, to go further into the success of Palworld, just look at the streaming numbers, man. Insane. And shout out to Peter here. He says the success of Palworld is sending a message to the gaming industry, including the gaming media. PlayStation should pay attention and learn lessons because, well, he's comparing The Last of Us 2 remastered viewers to Palworld, and yeah, night and day difference, man. I can't imagine sitting there playing a game you already played like 3 years ago, and again over a new experience. But hey, man, I guess you're into that more realistic thing. Um, and here we go, man. Palworld came out of nowhere, and it really did, guys. It really did. Arceus out of nowhere. Yo, Palworld out of nowhere, baby. Yes, sir. Crushing The Last of Us. And it gets even better because upon, the weekend release of Palworld, Nintendo decided to tweet a video of Pokemon Scarlet Violet, a piece of shit game. And they said, "Did you catch that? Explore some hidden details with it." And it's hilarious. I just couldn't help but laugh at this. And Pio here says the whole world is playing Palworld. Yeah, Nintendo, nobody gives a shit about Scarlet and Violet right now. You better get to doing some real work on your next Pokemon game and making sure that it isn't an inferior piece of crap. I hope that Nintendo will use Palworld as inspiration to make a better Pokemon game, but likely they will probably just attempt to sue the Palworld developers into oblivion because they'd rather go with the suits than actually make a better Pokemon game more often than not, especially judging by how they treat emulation, which is disgusting behavior, especially for a company as long-standing as Nintendo. And you guys know how I feel about preserving history. And Nintendo has an insane amount of history to be going and trying to, well, destroy emulators. And he said, just a lot of people just going in on this shit. And they should, man. I hope that Nintendo gets the picture. Finally a creature catching game has broke through into mainstream approval. This is, guys, I cannot stress how much of a big deal this is and how exciting it is for me personally. This is something I've been waiting for a very, very long time. I have supported creature catching games. I haven't bought all of them, but I definitely like to try different ones. And it's so exciting to see. You really are wilding out here, but this person here, a little poofy ball, says Palworld is successful, but saying Nintendo fumbles the bag with Pokemon is delusional. And they're referencing the sales of the most recent Pokemon game, Sword and Shield, selling 26 million copies, which is mind-blowing still to me. Scarlet Violet, 23 million. Let's Go Pikachu Eevee, 15 million. Arceus, almost 15 million. And to sit here and act like sales directly is reflective of competency of a solid game that plays well, performs well, it is innovative in some way, shape, or form. Nintendo and Pokemon, well, Pokemon does none of that. To act like these games, Sword Shield, Scarlet Violet, Let's Go Pikachu Eevee, really are innovators in any way, or actually competently made games. I can at least give Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee the fact that they were indeed competent games, remake of Pokemon Yellow. Just not what fans wanted in regards to actually catching the Pokemon. The one game I'd say is definitely different is Arceus, but it has a very, I'll say a lot of Pokemon fans don't like it, and not even because of how poorly it performs, how ugly it looks. They just don't like the changes to Pokemon at all. It does have its audience though. There's a lot of people that were won over by Arceus, but to actually sit here and just simply say that sales are indicative of quality is stupid. And lastly, shout out to my boy Astro Cyborg. He's always on the prowl on these Twitter streets, man. He said, I never would have imagined Palworld would have ponies down as bad as they are. And we have Brap here who doesn't want to see this success continue, sadly. And we have the Red Dragon that not only, forget even just dissing Palworld, he just wants you to know he hates that box, that Xbox, so much, man. It is so sickly and deranged that this dude hates Xbox as much as he proves to. And he says better graphics, higher frame rate, a lot less bugs on PC, 32 players per server versus only 4 on Xbox. Players recommend skipping the rental and playing the game the way it's meant to be played on PC. And all he's saying, which is something that is absolutely common sense, is that PC is better. And it is across the board. It is, and it always will be. Just like it's also better, Red Dragon, than your precious PlayStation, which I'm not even convinced that you necessarily play. Probably, honestly, he just sits there and hates on Xbox all day, every day. I don't even think he likes PlayStation. But he also says that Xbox also running an old build, and that's disappointing. That is disappointing that Xbox dudes couldn't get at least the latest version of the game playing on Game Pass. But hey, man, it is a relatively cheap upgrade. A cheap buy-in on PC. I think it's still like $26, which is not bad at all. I mean, depending on if you have, the rig to run the game. For me personally, it runs really, really well. Not a hard game to run at all by any means, but there's been an immense amount of butthurt on this insane success story that is Palworld. While I definitely see some concerns, the fact that some people turn a blind eye to other things is what makes me look at you sideways. And you know what? I'm turning a blind eye to the plagiarism potentially involved in Palworld, or allegedly, I should say, because it's a damn fun game. Pokemon allegedly has possibly done the same, and well, as far as I'm concerned, Pokemon is dead to me until further notice, until Game Freak gets their shit together and Pokemon Company gets their shit together. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think about Palworld. Have you played it? Are you enjoying it? Are you interested in it? Do you think it lives up to the hype? If you can, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Announcement that I announced on my live stream this past Thursday. Started a merch shop. Description below. Check it out. I don't know. Check out the t-shirts. I got t-shirts, hoodies, everything, cups, hats, all of that. I'm also wearing a shout out to Blaze 4K. I'm wearing his merch too. So yeah, let me know what you think about this in the comment section down below. And yeah, guys, with all that being said, I'm out. Peace.